Hello everyone, you're highly welcome back to my channel once again. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut a flounce, and I have my fabric here, and it's a velvet fabric, and it's also folded into four. Okay, so you're going to fold your fabric into four, and that is what I just did. So you're going to ensure that your vertical line and your horizontal line is the same thing. Okay, they are of the same size. So I'm using 24 inches for both the vertical line and the horizontal line. Okay, so that is what I am using. Okay, so you are going to make sure that both lines are equal. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure and divide my tape into two to get the midpoint of both the vertical and the horizontal line. Okay, so you can see me measuring it and dividing my tape into four, and you can see the midpoint that both of them come to the same point. Okay, both of them met at the same point, as you can see here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to get my ruler, and I'm going to rule it into a straight line. So you see I have something like plus here, and I'm going to extend that plus up and down, right and left, as if I have a quarter. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I was done, and the next thing I'm going to do is this point where they meet. I'm going to measure in 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to measure in these 2 inches round, okay, to form a circle. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. Look where I place the 2 inches, and you can see the point where all the lines meet. Okay, so I'm going to place it that place, and I'll create a circle, and that is what I have done here. So can you see it? Okay, so remember we'll have 4 lines here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to pick on one line. Okay, I'm going to pick on one line to start marking my flounce. Okay, so you can see this line here, you can see this line here. So on the center of the circle before the line, you are going to make a mark there. Okay, so basically you're going to start from the next line after the circle you made. Can you see it? And you connect it this way. Once you measure and mark on one line, you're going to connect the the line this way. Can you see it? So you continue measuring. So I'm using 4 inches for the wideness of my flounce. You can use 3 inches, 2.5 inches. It all depends on what you want to use it for and how wide you want it to be. Okay, so I'm using 4.5 inches. So that is what I'm using. That is wideness of my flounce, not 4 inches, 4.5 inches. So you can use any you can use as wide as you want or as small as you want. So once you measure it round and you come get back to where you started, you continue measuring exactly the size you have been measuring with. So I'll be measuring and I'll be reconnecting it to be forming my flounce. Okay, so this flounce is a flay in another way. It's another way of cutting a very long flay. Okay, so I'm going to be marking and be measuring until I exhaust my fabric. Okay, so that is what I'll be doing. So once you get to the line where there will be no um enough fabric to give you the same wideness of the fabric you need, then that line will be the end of it. Okay, so this line I just marked here is the end of it, because the remaining part cannot give me the same 4.5 inches to the next line. So I cannot get another fabric in that line. So this line here becomes my final bust stop. Okay, so I like measuring to see if I have what will be enough. Okay, so but this tutorial is just for the purpose of making a tutorial. I'm not using it for any outfit now. Okay, so if you are using it for a particular part of your dress or your sleeve, you do well to know the amount you'll be using, okay, so that you measure it and get the exact amount that you need. Okay, you can also get as much as possible. You can make it excess and you pleat it, because the beauty comes out more when you make some small pleat around, okay, or you a kind of just, yes, just pleat it around. You can also fix it without pleating, okay. So I was done and this is what I have, okay. So the next thing I am going to do now is to get my scissors and I'm going to cut, okay. So I'll get my scissors and I'll cut through, okay. So I was done cutting and you can see this is what I have here. Can you see this is what I have? Okay, so depending on what you're using your flanks for, it is more the flank looks more cute. It looks better when you add your heart interfacing to it, okay. You add your heart interfacing to it, and if possible you can also add your crinoline to it, okay, to the tip, especially if you're using it for your sleeve, okay, for your sleeve, for a ruffled sleeve, okay. You can add your gum your interfacing to it, your hand interfacing, or your crinoline to it, okay. So what I'm going to do now is to what I did just now is to turn it. I went on to turn it. Remember we have four, so I'll pick two. One will be the main fabric, one will be the lining piece, and I'll turn it so I have the same fabric on both sides. And that is what I did for two of them. Can you see it? So I'm going to give it a very neat press, and that will be the end of our tutorial. So now you've learned how to make a flounce. Thank you so much for watching.